Hey there, welcome back to Faith to Impact and Income. It's your host, Dustin Hill, and I'm super excited that you're tuning into today's episode because it's going to be a really good one. So make sure you go tell your friends about it. No, but I just have some really cool experiences that I want to share with you. But I do have to say, Amy gave me an amazing haircut, so very grateful for her. I love, having shorter hair, and it's always super nice. So it was getting pretty long there. Like my hair was kind of like curling over. It's like it wouldn't really stand up. I like to put some gel in and kind of have it go up in the middle a little bit. But yeah, it was kind of crazy. So anyways, let's talk about today. So today I'm going to be talking about a lost Apple Watch plus a shocking email and how that equals God is good. So I'm actually going to start with the email. But here's, a little backstory. A lot of you know that I've been doing Build Your Event Live. So I've done 2 events so far, and I'm going to be doing another one in May. And this is probably going to be not the last one that I do, but it's going to be like I'll probably stop doing them for at least a little while because it's just been on Saturday, and I'm just thinking, it'd be kind of nice to just not be busy on Saturday. So anyway, so more on that in the future, but I'm super excited to be able to do that again. And so it's been really interesting because I just feel like God has led me so much through all of this because, I preach about events, right? About summits, challenges, live events, about daily shows or, podcasts and things like that. But I love events and they're so powerful. It's an amazing way to make an impact and to make income. And that's the thing, like when I see it myself, the things that have done well, it's when I'm doing events, right? I'm putting these things together, I'm bringing people together, and that's when I can truly impact lives. But also on the income side, right? This is about faith to impact and income, is that you get to benefit from that as well. It's an amazing way to have offers sometimes for the event itself, but then also what's the next step, right? And it's a way to do that. And so anyways, it's so much fun and I love it a lot. And so I've been doing these events and I really feel like yesterday I was thinking about this, that I really feel like that God wanted me to do this so that I could get experience with it and then be able to teach other people about it. Again, like that's the thing is I couldn't really teach until I went through it. And so that's why that hasn't really been something I've been teaching about, but now I've done it a couple times and we'll be doing it one more time. So now I understand, okay, this is how it works and how I can then teach other people about it. But, part of the goal with Build Your Event Live is to provide a ton of value during the event to really help someone build out their event. And at the end is to then, offer coaching afterwards or, whatever your offer is. And so that's one of the goals of a live event. And so I've been doing that. And yesterday this past weekend, I felt like with when I presented the offer, I just feel like I didn't do an amazing job. I felt like that I had missed some things and just wasn't super clear on different things. And maybe it just wasn't super, I didn't pre-frame it enough. I don't know. I just didn't feel amazing about it. But last night I get this email. And so I'm about to go to bed and I felt like, I should just go to bed. So I was like thinking, I could finish this thing. But I was like, I should just go to bed. And so I, start walking to my room and then I see this email pop up and it says, hey, thanks so much for Build Your Event Live. It was so much fun. And I'm interested in doing, your coaching and stuff. And so I was like, wow, like that was totally shock. I just had no idea that I was going to be coming through. And so I just am so grateful. And the more that I thought about it last night, the more that I just said, God is good. God is good and he's really providing. I feel like that I'm just trying to do, what he wants me to do and that he's making things happen and just, sending the right people to me that I can help and bless. And I'm excited to be able to learn from them too. And I just really feel like that God is good. And I know that he is. And it's just amazing to see some of these different things happening. When again, I didn't feel like I'd done a great job at presenting my offer. But then, knowing that it was good enough, it was good enough. And so it was so awesome to see that and just really excited for that. And I'm excited too, because I'm essentially for this initial rollout of my program called Events on Fire Academy. Basically, I have like 4 spots available for this like initial kind of founders member pricing essentially. And so 2 more left, which is really exciting. And so I'm excited to continue to follow up with people and then, be able to serve at the highest level, to be able to really help people with events because they're so powerful. And so, all right, well, so what does today have to do with an Apple Watch? Watch. Like, and this is a pretty funny story to me. So what's interesting is last night again, it was probably 11 o'clock and Amy and I were getting ready for bed, and Amy was just telling me like, man, I can't find my Apple Watch and I can't find my AirPods. And so I'm supposed to run in the morning. I guess I just won't use those. And so, she's like, I know I had it on in the car when I was taking Miley to dance. So I had it this afternoon, but on the app, it says it was here, like, but that was like this morning. So I'm not totally sure what's going on. And so I just was like, you know what, let's say a prayer. So we prayed about it and asked for help. And I took out my phone and was like trying to ping it, was walking around. And then I remembered that there's this app. So I actually built an app called Find My Fitbit Plus, Fitness Band Plus is what it's called. They wouldn't let me use Fitbit. So, but it would basically kind of like a heat map, and it would like show you like the warm, cold, hot game, where you're walking around like, oh, you're getting hot. Like that's what it would do, because it could use Bluetooth and go find it. Anyways. And so then I was like, there's this other app that has Bluetooth, and it would show you essentially how close the signal is. And so I started using that, walking around the house, and just was trying to see, is it around here somewhere? And so I'm going, around the house, going in the kids' rooms, turning on the flashlight, trying not to wake people up, but I'm going around and I can't see it. It's not showing up on the app. It would, I was using my phone at first, but then I realized that actually, if you're using the phone that it's connected to, like your Apple Watch, then it would show up and say, Amy's Apple Watch. And so I was like, okay, let's grab Amy's phone. So I grab hers and walk around and do that. And again, don't see anything, but I have this thought that I need to go down to the soccer fields. Okay, so Parker had a game last night, and it was at this place I've never been before. I couldn't go because I was helping at church and stuff. And so but I knew where they were. Amy had already fallen asleep, so I didn't really want to wake her up, but I just felt like, okay, I feel like I need to go down to this place. It's like 20 minutes away. And so, here it is, like midnight now. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go. If God says that that's what I should do, then I'm going to go do it. And so I drive down all the way to this park, and so there's a school. And the only thing that I knew is that there was a field that was close to the school. Okay, so that's all I heard. And so I thought, okay, well, I guess I'll go look for that. And so I go and park by the school, and there's some baseball fields. So it's obviously not that, but I walk closer to the school, and just behind the school, there's a field. It's fenced off. There's like gates, but it's all locked and everything. But as I'm walking by, I can see some cones. And it kind of looked like it was set up as like a soccer field. So I was like, okay, well, maybe that's it. I'm using the app, walking around, and I still don't see anything. That the watch isn't showing up. And so I keep walking down, on the outside of the fence, but I'm like, I think I might need to get in there. And so I go over, there's a space that was, I don't know, maybe a half a foot. It looked like maybe I could sneak through there. So I get on the ground and like, I'm like put my head through, and then my chest is like, oh, that's not going through. And so I'm like, okay, well, let's just hop the fence. And, I realized pretty quickly that I'm not into like, being a robber or that type of stuff, of like jumping fences, because it was not totally natural for me. But anyways, I get across and I go and kind of do this crisscross across the entire field. So it's probably football field and a half, and still nothing's showing up. And so I'm like kind of confused. I felt like I should come down here, but I hopped the fence over, and that was even harder for me getting over the second time. My pants were getting caught and everything, but I finally get across, and then I start walking down by the school just to see, well, maybe it's over here somewhere. And I get to the road, and across there, it looks like there might be some fields. I'm not totally sure. It's kind of hard to see. But I pull up, the maps on the phone, and I see, okay, well, there is grass over there. So I guess I'll go over and see. And sure enough, there are some soccer fields. So I'm like, okay. So I just feel like I should kind of walk in between them all. So I walk down to the very end, and nothing's showing up. And so I end up going down the south fields and feel like, okay, I kind of just started running. I'm like running around, just trying to make sure that, if it's there, it would pop up. And so I keep going down. I finally get to the last field, which is closest to the school. And then I go down to the south part, and all of a sudden on the app, it shows Amy's Apple Watch. And I'm like, what? No way. Like, this is crazy. And so I'm like, I knew that I trusted that this would happen. Sometimes it's hard to know when we have those feelings that we, if we're feeling the right thing, but it was like cool to be, oh, wow, it's here. So I kind of circled back, because I was like, oh, maybe I missed it as I was coming over here. So I go around, and it was gone. And so I was like, well, maybe let's go back to that corner where I saw it. And then I walk towards the parking lot. And as I get to the parking lot, it's getting a little bit closer, a little bit closer. On the watch and like on your phone, you can say, hey, like, play a sound when it's found, or like when you're close enough, right? But if it doesn't have internet connection, then it won't just play the sound. So I couldn't hear anything, but finally I got close enough, and all of a sudden I hear ding, ding, ding. And then I look on the ground, and there's this watch, and there's the green light flashing. And so I found it. And so it was just one of those moments. I just was like, wow, God is good. And that's where I know like that he was guiding me through that whole thing. Like, why else would I have this random thought to go down to the soccer fields 20 minutes away and just feel inside that was right. It wasn't just like some random thought and I was like, no way. But like, I did feel inside that like it's down there, right? Like, something, and I'm sure you've experienced that before too, where it's like, hey, it's in your mind and it's in your heart, and something that you really feel like, okay, this is it. Like I know, and then going through and then actually finding the watch. It was just really, really cool experience. And so again, the message for me is just God is good. He is, and I know that he's continuing to watch over you, that as you continue to seek him out and pray to him and ask for help, like he will be there to help you, and he'll help you in everything in your life. And, you may think like, well, does he care about an Apple Watch? Maybe he doesn't really care about an Apple Watch, but you know what he does care about? He cares about you. He cares about the things that you care about. And sometimes we ask for the wrong things, but for the most part, he is always he's gonna do as much as he can to help us. And again, sometimes we may ask for the wrong thing. Oh, hey, I want this really fancy car. I want this and that. And maybe that's not his will, or maybe that's, he's guiding us in different ways because he knows better, right? And so, but I just do know that he does care about you. And so if there are things that you are worried about, just ask for his help, because he is there to help, and he'll help you in everything too. He'll help you like this. We talked about an Apple Watch, we talked about business. And so, he's there for you. And I just want you to know that, because it's just a really important thing. And it's a very comforting thing to know that God is there and that he's watching out for you. And so appreciate you, tuning into this. And I hope that you found value out of this. And if, I'd love to hear from you too, whether you're watching this on a video, or you're, tuning into the podcast, just send me a DM or comment and just let me know when you've seen this type of thing happen to you. I'd just love to hear it, because I know that God is good, and that especially when we seek him out and we try to follow him and we're asking for his help, that we'll continue to see that. And a lot of times it's just up to us to actually see it, right? There's so many things that happen every day. It's sometimes just as simple as us taking a moment to look back and say, that's right. That's what happened. And that's because of God. And so thank you so much again for tuning in. Appreciate it. If you're on the podcast or if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, share this with your friends. I'm just here to serve and really just trying to follow God. He's just inspiring me to do this, faith to impact and income. And that's why I'm here. And so, really appreciate you. And so thanks so much, and we'll talk to you next time.